Welcome to Be Encouraged. Join me on this heart-healing journey as we learn to navigate life's ups and downs. This is a safe space where you'll be uplifted while learning to uplift others. Hey y'all, I'm back. I'm just gonna jump right into it. These past few weeks have been, I wouldn't describe them as terrible, but definitely not the best. But nonetheless, we are here, back with a fresh wind, and I really just have to thank God for me being here, strictly because I was in such a space that I didn't feel like I was being fulfilled by the things that I was doing. Like, I don't want to say not happy, but I definitely wasn't feeling the normal joy that I usually feel. And so I was just feeling so lost, and I just felt like, okay, nothing around me is, I don't know, I just was like on autopilot almost. Like, I wasn't feeling anything. I was just going through life, doing the things I know I should be doing, from work to being a mom to being a wife and taking care of my house and all these other things. And so, like, I was just doing so much. And, like, one day I found myself, I was just like, okay, I'm tired. And it wasn't like a mental tiredness. Like, I was just physically just drained. And I had to, like, sit down and be like, okay, what are you doing that's physically draining you? And the more I thought about it, I was like, you're not doing anything. Like, anything extra. You're not overexerting yourself. You're not doing anything. And so I was like, okay, well, let's just do a little more and maybe we'll feel better. So then I went on and I started, like, just doing what I felt like, okay, this is going to make me happy. This is going to make me happy. I'll be proud of myself then. I'll be proud of myself if I do this, if I give a little more. And so I was doing that, and that made it worse. I just want to say that made it so much worse. And I was just sitting there and I'm like, okay, bro, back to the drawing board. But for whatever reason, I did not want to tell myself, like, no, it's not the amount of things you're doing. It's the quality of the things you're doing. You're doing 50,000 things that mean nothing when all God has asked you to do is just one thing. One thing. And you'll be okay. And this was actually last week too. So last week I'm sitting there and y'all, I don't know what it was. I got up out of the bed and I just dropped to my knees. And I dropped to my knees and I leaned over the side of my bed and I just stretched my arms out onto the bed. And I was just like, God, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what I'm not doing or what I'm not listening to you say. Like, I don't know what I'm missing, but here I am. Here I am. I'm right here. And I just laid there. I laid there for maybe like 20 minutes. Because I had nothing left to give. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm just like, Lord, I don't have any words. I don't have any complaints. I don't have anything. Just all I have is myself. This is all I have to give. So here, take it. And I'm sitting there and he just showed me, he's like, you're running from what I called you to do. And I'm thinking, like, no, I'm not. Like, I started the podcast. I started, working on other ventures and things like that. And he's like, but that's not what I told you to do. And I just started thinking how, yes, I did start this platform based on the things that he had already done for me and based on everything that I had gone through, but realized none of my episodes were reflecting it. And I started to take, my focus and not even just on the podcast, like because my life was so busy, God was no longer the center. So now he's no longer the foundation of my word. So now he's no longer the foundation of my parenting. He's no longer the foundation of my marriage. Like, he's no longer the foundation of anything that I'm, giving my time to, because I've let, life go so hard and I really allowed life to affect my relationship with him. So now, where he was the center, he no longer is. And so it was really in that moment where I realized, like, I started thinking about all the things that were happening, you know, within my marriage, all the things that were happening with our children, all the things that were happening at work, and how I found myself more and more frustrated in these spaces, but not realizing I had taken my eyes off God. So now when things, are thrown my way, the answer he would want me to give is no longer my foundation. So every answer I'm giving is based off of my emotions and based off of, just how I'm feeling. And so it's very reactive. And so now I'm more frustrated. And so now I'm yelling more at the boys, and I'm at work snapping, and I'm, not being myself. And so in that moment when I started realizing all these things, it broke me down, and I can honestly say it wasn't my lowest, but it definitely was close to it. Like, and this was all within maybe like a 8-day span. Like, this wasn't long at all. It was just such an overwhelming feeling, and I just broke down, and I just told myself, like, you are capable of doing these things, but you have to allow God to work. Because yes, he called me to do this, but if I don't keep him at the center, I'm gonna run myself ragged. I'm gonna burn out. And I had to realize, like, he's gonna equip me with what I need to accomplish the things that he's called me to do. But he cannot give me the resources if I can't give myself to him. Like, if I'm not praying like I should, if I'm not reading my word like I should, if I'm not even interacting with his people like I should, I am now pretty much like setting myself up for failure. Like, I'm not equipping myself with the right tools to make it through. And so being in that moment, I just gave up. Like, I gave up everything that I was trying to control, everything I was trying to handle that I ended up mishandling, which is crazy. Uh, and so, like, everything that I had my hands on, I was like, okay, you can have it, God. Like, you got it. I don't want to feel the way I've been feeling these past couple of days. Like, on top of being sick, like, my body already feel like it's about to shut down. And now my brain don't want to work. And now my heart is heavy. Like, I had a lot going on. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, Lord, this is too much for me. This is too much. But, a lot of times we take on so much and we get so tired, and not realizing that God never asked us to take on all those things. He never asked us to handle all the things that we're trying to handle. All he said was, do this. And I couldn't even do that. So we are back here one more time. We're going to do this for real. We are starting over. And I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do what God has called me to do, because I really did not like that feeling, because I was so scared. Like, I had to tell myself, like, I was genuinely scared, because I'm like, I want to reach everybody. I want to touch everybody. I want to blah, blah, blah. And, like, he's like, that's not what I asked you to do. And I remember, I think, like, year before last, my sister was just talking about her TikTok and, promoting her book and things like that. And she's just, like, worried about her followers. And I remember telling her, like, the people that you need to reach, you're going to reach. Just keep being you, be authentic, be yourself. And the people that you're supposed to reach, you're going to reach. And that's what's going to matter. Like, the numbers are not going to matter, as long as, it could be one person that could see your content and say, hey, I want to do something with this person. And now you have opened doors to so much more, than what 50 people can't do for you, right? So I had to think about that too. Like, no matter if I lose followers or lose listeners or whatever, like the people that God has called me to help, I'm going to help them. And I have to take myself out of it and my fear out of it um and how I feel and my image, because this is not what it's about. It's about God's image. And I really just had to step outside of it and really just realize, like, he has so much in store for me. He has so much planned for me. All I have to do is just allow him to come in and just do what he do best. And that's all I gotta do. But yeah, here I am out here trying to control stuff and trying to be a big girl and trying to say, oh, I got it all together. I can do this. Like, girl, sit down because you can't. And the reason you can't is because you're not supposed to. And I think that's one of my biggest things is like feeling like I'm supposed to be doing all these things. Like, I already have like 5 titles. I don't want any more. I don't want any more. I've literally had such a hard time like letting go of being independent and letting go of doing all these things. And lately I found it quite easy to just say, if I can't get it done, oh well. I don't want to be the superhero anymore. I don't want to be the jack of all trades. I want to be who I am. I want to be me. I want to do what I know I can that won't drain me, that won't leave me feeling like I'm overexerting myself. I don't want to be stressed out anymore. I don't want to feel heavy because I feel like I'm doing 8 million things and none of it's fulfilling me. I'd rather do 3 things that are fulfilling and bring me joy than to do 10 just to say I did 10 things. And I'm proud of myself for that, because I really thank God for allowing me to understand, like, it's not about, how many things you do. It's about how you're doing those things. Because I can't even imagine, like, the way I was feeling last week, y'all, I cannot even imagine purposely continuing to put myself through that. Like, and to be honest, I don't know what's scarier, like, knowing you're in that space, like, and continue to go, or just not knowing it all. Like, I feel like some people can't even recognize when they're in a place where they need to step back and let go of some things. And then there are people who do know and still choose not to. Because I feel like it's easier to just stay on autopilot and just go than it is to face the things that are draining you and to face the things that are truly just bothering you. And I'm just here to tell y'all, you don't get no prize for that. You don't get no cookie, you don't get no medal, nothing. You don't get any reward for being on autopilot. So take the time to just feel and to understand what you're going through and then let it go. Like, if there's something that you are doing and that you're giving your time to that's not mandatory to your life, baby, let it go. Because you're going to continue to drain yourself. Because you want to take on so much, because you want to look strong, because you want to look like you have it all together, and you want to look like, oh, I just want to let everybody know I can accomplish things. Girl, no, because I promise you, the moment you cannot accomplish them, they're just going to go find somebody else to. And I'm in that era of like, yeah, go get somebody else to do it. Because I don't want to do it no more. I don't want to do it. I want to do the few things. I want to do the few things I can do. And I want to, like, get into a point where I'm like, okay, now that I've accomplished these few things, maybe I can add something else. But also to just use my discernment on what to add. Like, I don't want to just go start doing something because I'm like, I want to do it. No, what is this going to do for me? Who am I helping? Who am I? What's the quality of what I'm doing? And I think that's really where I fell short these past few weeks, was just taking on so many things and not really just sitting back and reflecting on the quality of those things and really just asking God, okay, where do I go? Because I think that's also the biggest thing too, because we're so busy like listening to ourselves and listening to the people around me that we forget that God really knows what we're about to do. He knows the outcome of everything we're about to do. So why not go to the source and say, okay, here's how I'm feeling. Here's what I'm thinking. Where do I go from here? And then you wait, and then you listen. And a lot of times we feel like we don't hear him, but most of the time it's because we're not listening. We're not taking the time to just sit and to just learn his language and just learn how he talks to us specifically. Because I promise you, once you really just tap into how God is going to speak to you, you're going to hear him more clearly. And you're going to stop doubting the things that you hear. You're going to stop doubting the moves that you're making. You're going to be able to trust in him so much that you're going to call on him for everything. And I think, too, going into that, like, it turned into a whole thing of, like, people saying, oh, well, you don't talk to me anymore. You don't talk to me anymore. And I'm like, I can't, y'all. Like, I think I have, like, 2 people around me that are very adamant about, okay, go to God in prayer and ask him. Everybody else is just like, well, you should do this, and I think this, and it's all emotion-based. And so it's really hard a lot of times to go to people because it's like, you're going to lead me to make a decision that I probably shouldn't make because it's all emotion-based. So I went into a space of just not, I don't want to say like isolation because I wasn't really isolated, but I was more of like out of touch with everybody. Like I didn't feel a connection to anyone around me. And I think God does those things on purpose because it's like now you've lost your connection to everyone around you. It's so I can get your genuine connection. So I can get in your heart and you can put me first. And even then when I started to do that, and I think I spent like 2 days just deep in prayer, just every night. I'm just like laying on the floor. I'm just like, God, I need you in my heart because obviously I'm more angry, I'm more emotional, I'm more like all these things that I was not before. I was now. And so I'm just like, I need you in my heart, like soften my heart, make me more open to your word and to the things that you have for me. And even just being able to walk boldly and confidently in the things that you have called me to do. And then the last thing I asked him for was just strength as I grieved my old self. And like I started thinking, I'm like, I already did this. I already cried over this. And I had realized I had gone backwards. I went back to a place that was comfortable for me. I went back to a mode that was comfortable for me. And God said, that's not who you are now. And so the grieving process started. I just felt like I was so sad. So like not necessarily depressed, but I was just sad. Like I felt like somebody died and I couldn't shake the sadness. Like it felt like I was just like PMSing every single day. I'm just like crying and just emotional. Everything's making me sad. I'm just like, I feel my soul just feel heavy. Like I feel like a cartoon. Like you ever seen the cartoons where like somebody's like really sad and they got that little rain cloud over them 24/7. That's how I felt. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. But I think that's a part of the testimony at the end of the day. Like being able to identify those moments and then to go through those things, like it's hard at the time, but like looking back, I'm grateful because like even though I felt like I wasn't doing what God called me to do, he still came back to get me. He still came back and said, okay, hey, I need you to do this. He didn't say, okay, well, she don't want to do it, I'm going to go to the next person. No, he said, I called you to do this. I need you to do it. I need you to walk in there confidently knowing that I've already set it up for you. I've already opened every door for you. I need you to walk in there and I need you to do it. And it made me, I don't know. I really don't know, y'all. It's like, it's still scary nonetheless, but it if I hadn't gone through that little week and a half period of feeling like that, I would not be grateful for this. Like, I would not be as grateful for this time. I would not be as grateful for the things that I'm about to do. I would not be as confident because, like, knowing how I felt last week, I never want to go back there, to be completely honest with you. I never want to be back in that space because even though it was such a small span of time, the emotions were ridiculous. And I don't want to feel that way. So to step out of that and to be able to walk into this new space and be like, okay, for real this time. And that's where we at. That's where I'm at right now. And it's like I said, it's scary, but I'm excited because now I've gotten a taste of what can happen if I don't do it. And I don't want that. So now let's walk into the fullness of what he has already promised me. So I'm excited. And I pray that y'all are excited with me. But we are all over the place. And this is just the authenticity I want for my platform. It's just for y'all to understand. Every day is not good. Every day is not the best day for me. And I don't want to get on here and say, well, you're going to have a better day. No, y'all, I be struggling too. So I want y'all to see that, and I want us to all navigate it together and be able to walk together in these times. So if someone else is actively going through it, or even if they won't be going through it for another couple of days, they'll be able to identify it because I was able to get on this platform and say, hey, y'all, here's my struggle, but here's how I work through it. I can't wait to see what we doing next week. I'm excited for a bunch of things I got going on for this podcast. So y'all stay tuned. Love you guys.
Thank you for tuning in to Be Encouraged. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you stream your favorite podcast.